Welcome to the Destiny of Manufacturing podcast, powered by the Precision Metal Forming Association. I have a fantastic guest on here today. I have with me President of the Precision Metal Forming Association, David Klotz. Welcome, David.
Hi, Dean. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. It's great to have you here. It's great to kind of
the opportunity. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking time. I know you're very busy, and it's great to have you here. Right off the bat, I'd like to get an idea of what do you see coming for the next 5 years as the destiny of manufacturing? What is our destiny?
Well, I think I'm the first guest on the Destiny Manufacturing with Metal Forming and PMA, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, since we've relaunched.
I'm real excited about the partnership, Dean, and where PMA was thinking about putting together a podcast on our own, and the opportunity to partner with someone like yourself, one of the best in the manufacturing industry, and you've done a great job over the years, and us be able to partner with you and put this on and hopefully, grow our market, but then to grow yours as well, and really interject with that, the PMA community and the metal form community and all the metal forming, our manufacturing community, listen to our podcast, and hopefully they get out of it, learning from a lot of our members, is what I'm doing, and other thought leaders in our industry.
So tell me right off the bat, some of the things that we look at when we think about what's important. Networking, right?
Definitely. Networking is a huge thing for PMA and a lot of organizations, but it's so important now. Everyone's moving so fast today, and I think trying to network and get in touch with people within the industry, it's so important. We put on 60 events a year. Our districts put on another 60 events. So there's a lot of different opportunities that we can network in, all the way from, we put on training all the way down from the shop level and, lockout, tagout, all the way to the executive level. But a lot of different ways you can interact and network with our member base. But, one of our biggest ones are our, CEO networking groups and our executive networking groups. I mean, they go to each other's shops, they see what everyone's doing, what equipment they're buying, what software they're buying. They tell them the pros and cons of their organization. And what's nice about these networking groups, they give them feedback so they can be better. And then the other member within that group can take that back to their organization. So it's been those networking groups great, but networking I think is huge. You can be in a community of almost 900 member companies, and if you're looking to buy a press or any capital equipment, you've got a huge network to go talk to about that. Or if you can't do a job, somebody in the community that could do this job that you got. It's vice versa. If they can't do that job, and someday they may give that work to you. And so we see a lot of that within the RPMA community.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because one of the things that whenever we do any kind of training and that I've been involved with, one of the most important things that I think members get out of it is the experience of networking with those other people and talking about their problems beyond just the scope of what the training is involved in. Right. Sometimes you might be there for a training event on safety, but you have other questions on steel and perhaps HR questions. I think that that's a really important aspect, is that networking. Now we're at how many years now that you've been the president? 5 years? It's been that long already?
I'm on my 5th year. Yes, Dean.
That is fantastic. Well, give us a little bit of an update on how did we get here, where we are, and where we're going.
Well, I'll tell you, it's been an amazing 5 years. We've trickled in COVID in there, which made things a little bit difficult. But I've really enjoyed working for PMA, working for the members. I hopefully people can see the energy out there that myself and the staff are trying to share that, hey, we really care about you, and we really are out here looking out for the members to see what we can put on, or what programs we could put on, what education things we can do, what networking things we can do to help make them better. And that's the key of what the association is. You know, we touch on a lot of different areas, but the key is we want our members to be successful, and how our staff can help on any of the way. That's key. So it's great. We've made a lot of changes, and you know, we went through a huge remodel of the building. The new building is state of the art. We've got a great training room now that we can do virtual and in person. And what's great about it now is when we do our technical training, you know, we have 18, 20 people show up for a training session. We'll have 15, 18 people, 20 people online. So we're educating, you know, 20 more people than we would never have done before. And that's happening all across the board. So that's been a great. So we remodeled the office. We made some changes with brought some staff people in. You know, Caitlin Stratus came on board shortly after I came on board. She's our director of meetings events. She's a rock star, and her team does an amazing job. And then we brought Randy Kish back. He used to be with PMA. He came on board, and he's our membership engagement director, and he helps with our districts and helps in marketing. And our districts are, you know, our districts are so important to us, and we needed a better communication between the districts and national, and also getting out what national is doing to make sure districts know, because some of our members only participate locally and not in national events. So how can I gauge my local members more? And Randy's doing an awesome job on that side. So staff, we just recently just brought on Connie King, our new workforce development director, and Mary Pramick, our workforce development manager. And we've got some really exciting things we're doing there. We're going to offer training to our members on different areas. So we want our members to come to us if they're looking for training in lean, or in sales training, or they're looking for, you know, project management training. I want them to come to us, and we have a resource for them to go to. And so that's going to be brand new coming soon. So staff-wise, we've changed. Building-wise, we've changed. And then, you know, so there's a lot going on in the last 5 years. I've enjoyed it, and hopefully I've been out trying to visit a lot of members. Haven't visited all of them yet, but I've visited quite a few, and I enjoy it every time I go in and interact with them.
I think you've visited more people in the last year. I'm amazed at every time I see an update on where you've been, and see a member update. It really, for me as a member, I find that it's really important, because it adds value to my membership to know that you're connecting and getting the inside scoop of what their challenges are. And when I look back of why I got involved in PMA, I can look back in the early 2000 years when the first steel tariffs had hit. And when they did, I can remember talking to manufacturers who told me, they said, we've got to make a decision if we're going to continue to manufacture in the U.S. And a lot of the companies had to make very tough decisions at that time. And the only voice we had at that time, the one voice, was PMA. They were the only ones there to stand by manufacturers and say, hey, this is important. We really need to stand up, bang the drum, and say, hey, you guys need to pay attention if you want to keep manufacturing in the U.S.
Yeah, it's so important, and that kind of leads into, that kind of was our advocacy effort that we were starting, and that's a big portion of our members. What we do for our members is we have a whole advocacy arm of PMA. So we were just in DC actually last month, did a fly-in, smaller group of people that went on the fly-in, but it was really it was great that we went there, and we hadn't been there since 19 because of COVID. And I think it was we're hitting home, workforce development is a huge issue for our members. Can't find, so we really need to help our legislators, people in DC, really push manufacturing and getting people more into trades. So that's a big voice we're pushing on. The second thing is right now a big issue is for our members is R&D expenses, and we're fighting against that. There's a section 174 that we're trying to fight for and get that eliminated. Because what happens that does is that restricts our members to spend money in R&D. They'll hold back or maybe question doing an R&D project because they've got this expense now, and we need to get eliminated. If we don't do this R&D, then those R&D projects will be done in other countries like China and other areas, and that's where that's critical for our industry, is having our members reinvest in R&D projects. So sometimes they don't work out, but sometimes they become very productive and go into production, into a process that they need. So that's important. So our advocacy, we've got a team there, Franklin Partnership Group, Omar and John Gusick. They're great group of people. And then we have Bracewell, our PR and firm there in DC, Paul Nathanson and Caitlin Strickles. They do a great job for us of promoting manufacturing and supporting issues that are affecting our members.
Yeah, and I look forward to trying to have them on in the next few episodes here for our podcast to get their insight into what's going on in DC and how that's going to impact manufacturing. Yeah. I look forward to having them on. What are some of the things that members are talking about besides just workforce? I know workforce development is, of course, a huge issue, and of course the aspects that we have of trying to get people trained. And I know that we've got the Metal Form EDU. What areas that are of interest now to members about we need more training in these areas? What are some of the things? I know that we've got the new press brake training. What other things do we have that are on the horizon?
Which you were a big help in that.
Happy to help.
Yeah. So we're there. Our members are hiring in a lot of different other industries as well. They're hiring people that have never been in the industry before. So, we're trying to educate. We need to educate those employees that are just coming in and don't know what the terminology is and common knowledge, so they're not afraid of that and they can get up to speed quickly on that. So it's a whole, you mentioned Metal Form EDU, so we have an online training platform. There's 800 some classes. There's almost 60 classes that are specific to metal forming specific, but we have a full library of 800 classes that are in the kind of manufacturing library, let's say. And so educating those people that are coming in that have not been in the industry, keep trying to get common terminology throughout your workforce, so people are educated at the same level, has been important for members. And in retaining, it's a big thing, is they can bring them in the door, but we need to keep them, the employees there, and that's a big issue for our members, because inflation's happening, and everyone's looking for workers right now. And so trying to keep and retain those members. So, a lot of our members say it's the culture. They got to make sure that the culture, and they know the culture and how strong, how important it is. And I'll tell you, if our employees, if people go and work in the industry, they can make a very good living and is very supportive by our member companies over many years, and they can have a good life and good living in the metal forming side and with our members.
I agree.
And a lot of my members help pay for training, and education. So if you want to go out and get your, master's associate, they'll pay for that, or your bachelor's degree, they'll pay for that. Yes, there's a commitment to work there, but they'll have a whole program, so you can come out of school debt free.
Gotta like that.
Yes.
What is coming up in the near future? What things do we have coming up in the next within the next year or so?
So we've got obviously we got a full calendar of events coming up. Our HR roundtable's coming up, our CFO roundtable. One of our most successful programs, our MDA program. which is great for mid-managers coming up in the company. So we're going on our 13th year, and we're actually creating a networking group out of this. But that starts in July. They have their kickoff in July. And our MDA program is for individuals that are coming up in your company. And now, okay, they've got something that's, somebody in their company feels this person's got something and we need to help, help educate them or help, make sure they stay and be part of the company and stay with them. So they can invest with this MDA program, and we train them on how to manage people. Maybe they've never managed people before. Now they may have to take care of a budget, and they've never done budget stuff. So we give them, help in, the financial side, the HR side, and then just helping with some people skills. And then they have their own networking group. So we're moving from 25 people to 30 because we always have a waiting list. And that class kicks off in July, and they'll meet 3 times throughout the year. And then coming up, we have the CFO roundtable, and then we have one of our signature events, our IoT 4.0 kind of 5.0 technology signature event coming up, and then our automotive parts event coming up in October, which is going to be, we're moving that from Detroit down to Greenville, South Carolina this year. And that's always usually a good signature event of 100+ people that usually attend. So events coming up quite a bit. And then for benefits, we continue to look at our benefits as I've come on board. I've wanted to strengthen our member benefits. And so we've added ITR. So we're going to add some more benefits regarding ITR. We've added Principal Financial for 401k for our members. So members can go with Principal and can have a huge savings for their costs, the company's cost, but the employees' fees are less. So that's a great program. We have a health insurance program. And then, of course, our other affinity partners like Harbor Results, Granger, Yellow, and some others. Yeah, and last one, we just launched it back in November. We have cybersecurity. We have a partner, Systems X, and Mike Bratton there and that team there. We've offered cybersecurity. So there's software that you can buy that it's cheaper if you buy it through them. And then they also offer a free assessment of your IT infrastructure.
Yeah, I think they do that for the members too, correct?
Correct. Yep.
That's fantastic. Just getting an evaluation of where you are helps you to understand from a metric standpoint, what's my baseline of where we're starting. So correct. That's tremendous.
And not all our members have an IT team internally or externally, but it's always great to have another person come in and kind of evaluate it and see, and they do a lot of defense work. So they've got tools and software that can do almost like in Department of Defense level of security, which, we all need because of, all the different risks that are out there.
Absolutely. And, I think back of when we started this discussion of getting this podcast off the ground. And I think that one of the things that we both agreed that was one of the big challenges is how do we communicate with people today where they exist? We've had the magazine for years. We have our events, but people sometimes want to be communicated with however they want to choose. So not necessarily an email. Maybe they want to be able to consume this information while they're running or while they're in their car, while they have some time.
Right.
I think that made a big difference. And what other things have you seen that this brings to the table?
Yeah, I mean, my focus and Mike Volan's, our focus is trying to, and Brad Kuban, we really want to increase our digital footprint at PMA, and this is a great avenue here. And like you said, we've got to, our members, everyone's running, 100 miles a minute, and how do you touch them? And if some people, like I said, consume information differently. And I listen to a lot of podcasts when I'm on, treadmill on doing walking on the treadmill or outside walking. And so this way, the thought is I want to get our industry leaders on the podcast in the future, some key employees here, but then also, members to talk to them about what they're seeing in the industry, how they're successful, and what challenges they've got. And if they can help educate some other members or non-members, the better off the industry is.
Great point. Great point. In closing, what other things do you want to mention before we sign off here?
I just, I would just first want to just say, I tried to say this when I first came on, and I try to say it as much as possible, but I want to just say thank you to our members for supporting PMA and the industry. And, our retention rate is increased, which is great. We need to continue keeping that retention. And I would love to hear from members. Feel free to call me, text me, or send me an email and let me know. That's why I like going on these visits, because as you mentioned, Dean, it shows that I'm trying to find out, hey, is there a challenge you're having? Is this challenge could be multiple members? So how can I bring in a resource from the outside that could help educate that member along with the community on a specific topic that could be event. And so it's, I just, I've enjoyed it. I've been part of this industry for all my life. My family was in the stamping. I've grown up in this, and I really care about our members.
That's fantastic. And it shows. And I think everybody knows that. Well, we thank David Klotz for being here today, Precision Metal Forming Association president. David, one last thing. How can people reach you?
Emails, again, dklotz, DKLOTZ at pma.org. Again, my cell phone, you can reach me on by my cell phone. And then, obviously there's multiple ways we're going to broadcast this podcast and promote it. All I ask is hope you can help promote it yourselves. And we'd love to get it out to more and more of the community. But also, obviously, you can always call PMA headquarters and ask for me, and they will get in touch with me if I'm on the road or not. So, right. And Dean, I'm excited. What's your thoughts about, you've been doing the podcast for how many years now?
This is my 6th year we've done this podcast. So
I'm excited.
I'm really excited.
Good.
This will help increase the reach. One of the things that I took the podcast as far as I could take it, but this will really help to expand the footprint and help manufacturers improve, which is the goal at the end of the day. We want to make sure that all of manufacturing improves, because people sometimes forget, even in our advocacy side of the business, that it's not just for members. We also advocate for our industry. It is not just for members. So we want to help everybody to improve. So thank you so very much for being here today. Everybody, please like, share, and of course, comment. We'd love to hear from you. Everybody, make it a great day.